So you gotta tell me about the trip, man. You gotta tell me where did you go? Where in Iceland did you go?
So first we arrived to Reykjavik, and Reykjavik is quite a small city compared to like Dubai, for example.
Yeah.
But most of the population lives in Reykjavik. So there's 330,000 people living in Iceland, out of which like 2,060 lives in Reykjavik and around.
How much?
Yeah, 260,000 people lives around there. So basically,
And nobody else, like just a few, like 100,000 outside.
yeah, it's just like everything else is more or less like 10,000 people, cities slash villages. So
Wow.
yeah,
I'm shocked because, I mean, that's probably how many people are in the marina.
yeah, exactly. Like, and and they have this small downtown Reykjavik, which consists of two streets with bars and like fish and chip places and obviously like all the souvenir shops
That sounds like fun, actually.
as well. And there's a lot of young people we saw when we were there. We were there basically Saturday, and everybody was going out and was like 6 degrees, and people were wearing short skirts, like girls in like high heels, short skirts, like like we go out here, but for them it was normal. Like summers here were like, the hell, we're freezing, and they're like, look at them.
What was the temperature?
It was pretty cold. I mean, it was like below 10.
Wow.
Yeah, but it wasn't snowing. When we arrived, it was raining actually, so we rented the car, we went down, we arrived, it stopped raining, so we decided to go for a walk.
Uh-huh.
And got into like one famous place that sells fish and chips. But if you go there and you like imagine to see something like famous and cool, it looks like it's somebody's family place with just like dad, mom, and like kids serving this fish and chips. And there is 3 things on the menu saying like catch of the day was like either this kind of potatoes or with a salad or like
Okay.
yeah, and that's it. But it was pretty nice. I mean, we were quite tired. The next day we drove out already and went to the west of Iceland. If you see the island like this, it's like on top.
Yeah.
The first couple of places were like there were people there and stuff. We went to the coffee shop where Walter Mitty was filming like a Papa John's place.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and the first time I was there, I remember how I was having a coffee with like my group of people that I went there, and I was looking at the walls, and there were these pictures of like Papa John's and like Ben Stiller like eating Papa John's. I'm like, why is this here? Like, I don't understand. Like some pizza place, like in a coffee shop, and then the girl who owns the place, she came back from behind and she told me, yeah, this is where they filmed, like in our place. Like we rearranged it and reorganized it. Like, okay. And then I looked outside, and like basically in the movie you see how the plane takes off from there, and then he's already back in the US. And this is exactly how like the place looked like. Yeah, it was crazy windy. The first day was so windy, like it was hard to open the door of the car.
Really?
You would like go out and you're like, shit, like I have to be really careful walking around because like the wind just knocks you out.
Yeah.
And we stopped at some place. There was like a waterfall in the back, maybe like a kilometer or so. But I took out the long lens and I put the shutter speed of something like maybe 1/400th of a second.
Yeah.
And the wind still knocked me, and it was all blurry because like the wind was knocking down the camera. Like I couldn't even hold it. I'm like, okay, 1/2000 of a second, and then it kind of like froze it more or less.
Then you got it a little bit more.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, this is pointless. Like there's not even.
Which lenses did you take with you?
So usually I tend to shoot very wide.
Yeah.
Like I like wide angle because it's like it gives you this surreal way of seeing the things.
Yeah.
So, and I like to shoot low, so basically I find something on the ground and I put my lens next to it so it becomes big, and everything else should fall in the frame. Like you have to see how it works, but then you have to have something like leading to this thing and then something in the background, and like basically this is how I usually shoot. But this time I decided that I'm gonna try to stay away from this method because like people been telling me that you're shooting too wide, everything is like crazy and like, well, this is not how it looks in real life, but this is how I like to shoot. So
that's fine.
So I took 10 to 24, like I took my Fuji camera and it was the only camera I took. I took 10 to 24, 16 to 55. So the first one is f4 and the second one is 2.8. Then I had a fisheye lens, which is 8 millimeters.
Yeah.
And like if you shoot straight with it, you can potentially correct it into a normal looking picture.
Yeah. Roughly.
Which is also 2.8, and it's a manual focusing lens.
Yeah.
And another one I took is 100 to 400 because I thought like I'm gonna challenge myself and try to shoot with a long lens because I rarely shoot with it, and I mean there's a lot of things in Iceland that you can shoot with a long lens. A lot of things are quite far out.
Yeah.
And in general, if you just stop in a like a random place, it's very hard to find your angle. Like it's very hard to see, okay, everything looks cool, but where do I start? Where do I set up? So if you have a long lens, you're like, okay, I like that mountaintop, so I'm just gonna shoot like a piece of it and that's it. Or I like how the tree looks like with that house or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I did like a combination. I did not shoot that much with a very wide angle lens. Also because we didn't really do like very long stops for where I could go and explore and like do this and do that. I just was more thinking like, okay, I see this, I'm gonna photograph this before my husband gets too like bored out of this place. So yeah, kind of like a scout mode. You go out, you snap, you come back. Like
so like almost like little recce's.
Yeah.
Instead of long drawn.
Yeah, because
landscape sessions.
2 times before, how it was working normally, you get in the bus in the morning and you go photograph your sunrise wherever the bus driver decides to take you. So the sunrises in March I usually run like 7 to 7:30, which is surprising to me because in Reykjavik it would be at 8:15, and then 200 kilometers down the coast it would be at 7:15. I'm like, how can there be like 1 hour difference? It's like it's not that far. It's
yeah.
But because probably the island is located like this, like it actually makes it different. On the map we see it like straight, but in fact it's more that way.
Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah. So then they would leave you there for like an hour to shoot your sunrise and the surroundings. So once you're done with the sunrise, you're just like, okay, maybe I'll try another lens. Maybe I'll try another thing. And here, like, it was not the same kind of experience. So
was it better going in a group or was it better just you two?
Well, technically, I mean, it's nice to go in a group and like you will definitely hit all the spots that photographers want to hit, but then going by yourself, you have the freedom of like going anywhere you want, which allowed us to go to places which we otherwise wouldn't stop, because like sometimes we would drive with our group and like we would see something nice and say, oh, like this is amazing, and the driver would say like, oh no, this waterfall is ugly, like we're not gonna stop here or whatever.
Fair enough. So you get to choose what you find.
Yeah, it depends on the person. Like obviously, some people go on places like this for the checklist pictures. Others go just to spend time in the nature. Whatever they find, they find it. I was very happy with the fact that we would like go to the place called East Fjords, where very few tourists go. Like most people, if they go there, they just go passing because they decide to drive.
Yeah.
All around the island.
Yeah. So, cat problems.
And like there, we would just sit on this like cliffs, and would just be two of us and enjoy like the waves crashing. And like even if you don't like taking pictures like this, just like nice to chill out and be there just by yourself.
Yeah, just actually enjoy the place. You don't have to record everything. You have to actually enjoy it too.
Yeah. No, like honestly. The problem with Iceland these days is that the tourist bus arrives to a popular destination. There is 200 people there. Like 4 buses, there's 200 people, and like you can't enjoy it. You can't take pictures. Like it's crowded. Like you just think, what? And people are taking selfies or like doing stupid shit, like walking on the fences, climbing everywhere, and you're like, I'm just annoyed. Like, I don't even care about this waterfall. It's cool, it's big, but like I don't care. I care that these people are annoying me.
Yeah, I completely understand.
So yeah, the first like part of our trip when we went to like the West Fjords, there was also nobody. We were driving maybe like 2 hours on the road, so one car.
Okay.
Like, once you pass that cafe and like that probably is like the outpost of civilization, and there's 300 kilometers like one petrol station and nothing else.
Yeah.
And like most of the time we were driving on this dirt road, and you're like, where is this road even going? Like, what is there?
You're using Google Maps?
We had a GPS in the car, like.
Okay.
So.
All right. That's what I was wondering. Like, how good is Google Maps in Iceland of all places?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
Even the GPS in the car was not like finding all the places.
Yeah.
Plus, the places are like 25 letters which are unpronounceable.
You can't even say the names.
Yeah, exactly.
How many of the names can you say? What do you remember?
Well, I mean, even those that I can say, I probably won't say them right because this Icelandic pronunciation is.
I don't even try, by the way. When I see Icelandic names, or I just don't even read them.
I mean, you can easily say something like Skadafell or Skogafoss. Like it's easy to say, but like that, volcano thingy.
Yeah, I can't say the volcano name. I know it's with a T.
So it starts with A.
Oh,
something
God.
Like
it has a T and a K in there.
It is not comparable.
No, the quality is not comparable, and even the friendliness isn't comparable. They have not been able to translate their DSLR friendliness and comfort into their mirrorless yet.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to happen, and most likely it's going to happen end of the year. There are rumors that they're trying to shrink down a lot of their tech, and Nikon and Canon are actually both doing it. So they're coming after Fuji. It's too late.
Yeah, like they had that like headway, and
yeah, they've lost it.
I remember when I went to that GPP event, maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, and Fuji was doing their presentation, and they were like saying, we have this camera and this camera, and like this is the plan until 2020 or something for all the lenses, and there were like lots of lenses. And I'm like, who in their right mind will like invest in the new system? Like, and what do they think they're doing, these people? And then like one day I got to use the camera, and I'm like, that actually doesn't look so bad. And and then I start talking to people who like Fuji approached them and asked them like if they want to try to shoot with the system, and they're like, oh my god, I love it. Everybody says I love colors, and you know how I feel about colors. I love colors as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, let me try. And and like I just remember how that I was in that presentation. I was thinking like, it's too late. Like you can't. What do you think? And who will shoot with mirrorless? Like it's not the same. And then when I tried, I'm like, well, it's comparable. Yeah, it can work. But I went to New York last year in August, and we were staying at our friend's place, and I was also thinking, what should I take? Like, I don't shoot street photography that much, and New York is an amazing place to do that. There's so many colorful people, and like it's just so great to
it's perfect for street.
Yeah, like just to take a small camera and like walk around and shoot people. And even if it's easy to approach them, like you can go and talk to anybody. Everybody's kind of like weird, but all right.
Yeah.
And I knew that we would be walking a lot, so I didn't want to take like something heavy and cumbersome. So I just took a small. I have also a Fuji X100T. I just took that. But then I was thinking, but I like to shoot CT like wide as well, so what am I gonna do? So I bought also a polarizer and like ND filter just for that camera, and I used that shooting from like our friends. They had a rooftop from which you could shoot. It worked fairly fine, to be honest. I mean, I don't feel like I missed out on any opportunities, and I'm just thinking like that you were saying that you're gonna take this and that and this and that. How are you gonna carry this? Like New York is a place where you walk everywhere, and you walk so much that your back is gonna be broken.
I did it, by the way. Last time I carried a Mark III with 2 lenses and the Hasselblad, and it was really hard on me. and I didn't do it every time, and it exhausted me so much that eventually I had to stop. So I did it in New York all the way. Go ahead if it's important. Uh, I did it in New York all the way, but not in. And then I went to Miami. I didn't even touch the Hasselblad except for some portraits I did of my grandfather, and then everything else was just the Canon. And with San Francisco, I was just too tired to even look at the Hasselblad. I was just exhausted, and
Yeah, I know how it feels
I
like.
wanted to absorb the real place. So it was just me and 2470, and but then what happened was that so I was in I think San Francisco for 7 days. I shot for 5 days constantly, and this is 2 years ago, and I've only probably edited about 10 of those images
Hmm.
out of 5 days. And there are a lot of good images in there, but nothing that yelled out to me like, you need to put this out now, you need to give it time now. But in general, that's a personal issue of mine where I don't want to edit anymore. I just don't want to, even my own photos, even the ones I love. Like I just spent like a week shooting photos of the cats, just drinking water, trying to get their
Yeah.
tongues in focus. And I've done like a bunch of different sessions because they would always stop drinking pretty fast. So I don't even know how many sessions, like, 4 cards, and I was satisfied. I never edited those pictures. I only looked at them once on the computer. I didn't put them out anywhere. So no Instagram, no Facebook, nothing. And I felt like I was done already, which is weird because I've skipped the last part, which is sharing.
Yeah.
But I think I've like taken that away from myself, at least for now, as a weird sabbatical of sorts. I haven't posted anything on Instagram in like weeks. I love it. I don't even open Instagram.
Yeah. I
it
did
is
that as well.
it is such a relief.
Hmm.
And by the way, when I do open it, the first thing I see is always an image that makes me want to close it. Because I don't know what happened. I'm following a lot of people that I don't want to follow and I don't remember following.
Hmm.
And some of them are really like weird, like I don't know. It's strange, like some like weird models that I know I wouldn't have followed. Like
Hmm.
there's no way in hell that I would have clicked follow on this human being,
Hmm.
but I have, and I said the first photo you see, and I don't want to look at all these women anymore, So literally, I open it, I unfollow the first person I see,
And then you're close.
and I close Instagram, and then I jump to something else. I spend a lot of time on 9gag instead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'd rather see memes, and I've been trying to make my own memes instead. So I'm still creating in some way, just not in the more traditional sense. Anyways,
Yeah, but I mean, like, these days, honestly, it feels like whenever you post something, specifically on Instagram, it's like shouting into nothingness. Or like you're standing in front of the crowd and everybody's shouting and nobody's listening. Like
yeah,
that's what it feels like, We can talk about this for hours.
I know. I do feel like I'm a quiet person, and I have to scream too loud on these platforms.
Hmm.
And I love the
I
attention.
only think that
you know?
people who do that, like, take Walid Shah, he always overposts. Like,
Constant.
he always says, like, hire me, I'm a photographer, I do this, let's do
Yeah.
this together, and again, and like 3 times a week you see the same message. But I feel like only if you do that it works, because
Yeah.
otherwise it just gets lost into, like...
I agree. He has a high work ethic, that's for sure. He's always shooting and he's constantly creating. And he stays on point with the sharing part for sure.
Mhm.
I mean, he's one of those few photographers that flips the camera onto himself that I know.
Yeah,
Most
it's
photographers don't want to talk into the camera, and me included, where we want to look outside. We don't want to talk about ourselves really.
It's true.
Really, even though we do love ourselves and do have an ego there, but we don't actually want to do that. We actually want to keep shooting other stuff.
But yeah, for me, recently, like this particular weekend, I started thinking I have to make a separate Instagram for my work. And the work that I do, and like, what should I call it, and how should I do that? Because everybody knows I shoot landscapes, like my friends. But the clients,
Yeah.
when you meet them and you give them your name on Instagram, they're confused. They're like, what is happening? Why, like, it's beautiful, but this is where I'm confused. Like, what's that?
That was probably the most shocking part for me, by the way, to see a new one,
name.
a new account that you open. I was like, do you really want to do that?
I don't want to do that, but I need to make money. That's the thing. And I was like, I can't. So basically, what I was thinking, fine. What should I do about the name? Because Anna Shtraus is already quite long. Like
Yeah.
Like Anna Shtraus photography would work only if it was only Anna photography or Strauss photography, because then the name is too long, and if somebody tags me on any stories, it's gonna cut like in an awkward way.
Yeah.
I tried that didn't work. Then I changed it to Anna Shtraus photo, and then I was like, I hate the name. Like I just hate it. And I'm like, what should I call it? Visuals, work, some things that like tells people right away. And then I thought, okay, fine. I have a bunch of business cards that I made when I joined Seeing Things, because they took forever to make my business cards, and I had to like give my business cards sometimes to people. So I made my own. I designed them myself, and I put my name, my phone number, my Instagram, my email.
Yeah.
And I thought probably I have to change my Instagram to the actual works that I do, because I give those, and people then, if they look back, they should see my portfolio, not my personal work.
So now you've got 3 Instagrams.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of them it's just for friends and family, which I don't consider. But now it kind of turns into like shooting film Instagram. So
yeah,
I don't know. And I'm not happy with the fact that I have to have 3, and I was really sad to give up my like official name, because I worked hard on making those followers. Not really hard, but like everybody who subscribed to that matters to me, and I gave up the name for the portfolio one. So like I don't care about those followers. Whoever wants to follow, they follow. Like I just put it there because I sit in front of the client and they say, what's your Instagram name? And I have to give it, and I have to see what I shoot. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah. But then eventually I thought like, okay, I'm just gonna put a dot in the other one, and I'm gonna leave the name here, which is super confusing, I guess, right now. But whatever.
I think it's okay. So what's your new one then?
So the new one is Anna Shtraus. And the old one
word
is Anna.Strauss. So.
Okay. So you just added a dot.
I just added the dot because I couldn't decide what should I do with it.
I agree with not putting photo or photography or visuals.
Like it just doesn't work with my name.
I understand.
It works like as a copyright, it's fine. But as a name on Instagram, no, it's too long, and I mean, like,
unfortunately, you do have to share your commercial work online now.
Yeah.
I still don't do that. I need to do the same. I share only a really small version of the creative work that I
created the website. I paid money for it. I put time into building it.
Yeah.
And I put everything that I thought worth sharing on there.
Yeah.
But then people are too lazy. They never look
People don't want to go on websites anymore.
And I realized that when I told my friends I got fired and like I have to figure out my life right now because I want to be a freelancer, and they're like, oh, you have to make a website. I'm like, I have a website. If you just type my name into Google, it comes up right away. It's right there. But everybody's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, go, like, check it out now. Like, go on your phone. And they're like, okay, I will. And then nobody did. So I thought, like, okay, if they're too lazy, I just have to create an Instagram and show it to them. Like, this is the only way, because the same thing, there are, like, I have friends who are around for maybe 5 years, and they have no idea what I do. Like, they're like drinking buddies that we go out to the bar, we talk about life, but then I say like, okay, you have any work for me? Do you know anybody who needs anything? They're like, what do you shoot? I'm like, you know me for the last 5 years, you have no idea what I do?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, so like this is a situation that kind of forced me. I mean, I hate doing this, and this is exactly like I don't care, and I don't want to care, but I have to do this.
If you want money.
Yeah.
Photography. I understand that.
And it's not like, it's gonna really help anything, but also like I updated my LinkedIn page, and I was looking at what other opportunities are there, and some beauty blogger wrote to me saying like, where can I see your work? And I told her, okay, this is the website, and go and see the website, or if you tell me what exactly you're looking for, I'm gonna put together the portfolio and share it with you. and she never wrote back to me. And I'm like, yeah, because on the website you can't see how many followers I have and how many people are like engaging into what I do. So for you it's important that you shoot with somebody who's gonna share that they
Yeah.
shot you, and you're gonna receive your like fair share of like love and appreciation from them as well, which is ridiculous, but that's how it
Yeah.
works today. Like you can't do anything with that.
That's all that matters. That's why I'm taking a break, because I just don't want to take. I don't want to play that game. It's extremely boring. I mean, the last big shoot I did was for a fashion blogger, and I was just like, what's the point? And then I got random people messaging me, hi, can you take my photo too? And everybody wants to pay with freaking
Yeah, likes and follows.
And I don't want that. Obviously, I don't care about that. I mean, obviously I care about that, but that's because the system has made me want to care, and I don't. That's why I took a step away from social media right now. Even though I'm still on Facebook and I'm addicted to Facebook, I'm not. But I can't get off Facebook. It's a way to be in touch with humans.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I also thought that Facebook is like useless in terms of sharing your work, but
Yeah.
it's useful in terms of like keeping in touch with people.
For sure.
Like you can stop posting, but you still have to keep it just to be able to connect
For
whenever
sure.
you need something.
Yeah. Just a few days ago, I don't know if I shared it with you. I saw this awesome live, like a class, a work class by photographer Gregory Heisler.
Yeah, you tagged me, but I didn't watch what he was doing.
And he was talking about a lot of things, and he was simplifying a lot of things. But he's talking to professional photographers and he's talking to amateur photographers, so he had to simplify a bunch of things. But his overall message was, don't listen to what other people say. Literally do whatever the hell you want. So if you want to shoot nothing but wide angles, just do it. Because his argument is that what's most valuable is your own voice and your own style that you have to create by finding your own uniqueness. And it sounds really cheesy and dreamlike, but it's absolutely true. Yeah. And I realized that I was like bending my style to match the client, to match the blogger, to match this other blogger. Oh, she prefers these colors and these lighter tones. Or this one prefers harsher, more grungy looks. And I was just rotating my styles, and in the end, I lost my voice and just went away. And I was just like, I need it back. So that's why I'm doing whatever the hell I want now, kind of.
Yeah, honestly, this is why like I love traveling to remote places, because there you don't even check Instagram and you don't even care what's happening and like, whoever is posting or sharing anything. You just like enjoy, and you get all this drunk on like fresh air and like crazy adventures that you're having. And the holidays that I took before, I did the small videos about what I was doing. I was like walking around and like filming and taking pictures, and then when I came back, everybody assumed that they know everything about what I did. And they're like, oh, I like that part and I like this part, and so like they don't even ask anything. They're like, okay, we know what you did. I'm like, that there's so much more than that, but sure, like you assumed already.
That's really funny. I never realized that people will assume that they would know everything just because you shared aspects of it.
Yeah.
That's really weird. I mean, you should be aware enough to know that obviously more happens that you don't record.
Yeah.
More happens that you don't document. There is sad moments, there is hard moments, there's boring moments that you just don't share.
But also, like, I think if I was doing the vlog part, I tend to be over optimistic, and like I always try to paint everything in like perfect lights, and I tell happy stories and how like everything worked out and how it was hard, but then it worked out. And it's not always like this. I sometimes bend the reality just to like, because people like happy endings and stuff like this.
For sure.
So
I think we live in a city where we also want to keep everything happy.
Yeah.
Where exactly. For sure, there's a happiness street here, believe it or not. So I felt that. I felt like I've manipulated my situation to appear happier or to appear more positive, or something awesome happened and it's not that awesome, So I think that, I don't know, maybe it's the Americanism, the globalization that's passed on to us here. Because Dubai is very Americanized in many ways.
Yeah, the American people who arrive here, they're like, I'm shocked. Like, I never left the US.
Yeah.
Like, you have all the restaurants and you have all of this and you have like, the only things that you're missing is But yeah, I mean, if I don't know if you've ever been to Vegas, but everybody's
Not
like,
yet. Yeah.
all the Americans are crazy. I mean, some Americans are crazy about it, not all of them, but they're like, this is like the best place to go. They have this all amazing hotels and all of these amazing clubs. I'm like, yeah, nothing new.
Nothing new. Sounds just like Dubai, doesn't it?
Yeah,
The
but
only
just
thing missing is the
bit more
gambling.
like, just Vegas feels like a bit more run down. Although,
Okay.
like it's supposed to be all this fabulous and shiny and fantastic.
It's just much
places.
older.
Yeah,
right? So.
but there is only like 2 hotels which, up to the Dubai standards, like
Like
you
the
know,
Palazzo
shiny.
and-
yeah. Like the Caesar Palace is
Yeah.
super nice, and like it feels like those hotels made of marble with waterfalls and everything. Others just so cheesy, and you just walk in, you're like, what the hell? Like all these carpets and all the in all the casinos. It's like you can make really like a project about the ugly carpets in Vegas.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm not ready to go to Vegas. I think you need 2 things to go to Vegas. You need a purse full of cash so that you can actually enjoy yourself, and you need either a group of
Yeah, you need somebody
a
like
group
to-
of friends that you can really party with,
Yeah, because a lot
or a
kinda
significant
creepy.
other that you can really enjoy it with. Otherwise, I'm most likely going to go into LA end of July, but I'm probably not. I'm
I
probably
can't say
you
that
know,
I really love LA, to
No?
be honest. I
I
like
have
it.
to go to see a cousin of mine, so it's
No,
an
no,
excuse.
I mean it's
Yeah.
a great city and it's very
I've
cool
never been,
to
so.
visit like first time, but it's so
Yeah.
diverse and it's like it's a lot of things happening there.
I'm a Hollywood freak. I love everything Hollywood, so I'd love to see all
Yeah,
the
I
old
mean
places.
obviously
and-
like you should go to the what's it called, like where's it keep everything for the movies, like all of that stuff. But basically
Planet Hollywood.
yeah, I think so. We didn't
Yeah.
go, so I don't know.
Okay, there's a bunch. There's a bunch of them. There's more than one, I think.
But where we went on this, the stars on the
Yeah.
calendar thing,
Yeah.
it kind of like, because I had no idea how this looks like, I felt it would be more grand and like more.
And it's just a
like,
street or
it's
something,
just a
apparently,
street,
right?
It's just a sidewalk. Honestly. And it's like so short, and there's so many people, and like that kind of like sucks. And
Yeah.
yeah, and
I feel like I don't need to see that, even though it'd be cool to see some stars of the people I like and fantasize about knowing. But yeah, in the end, it might not be like giving back. I enjoyed San Francisco a lot though, because
so we didn't go to San Francisco.
yeah, San Francisco was amazing. I mean, the first day I hated it because I was like, it doesn't make any sense. Because they were like, I saw literally the first, like I walked out of the taxi into the city. And the first thing I saw was a guy shooting heroin into his arm. That was the very first thing. And I was like, what am I looking at? I don't want to be here. So I did not like it at all. And it was freezing in summer. And I was like, why is it cold?
Yeah, it's always cold apparently.
Yeah, it's microclimates. It's like it keeps switching and keep going up and down. So that was like really strange. But in the end, I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with, like, I learned about it. I started reading all the history. I didn't do shit before. I didn't do any research. All I knew about San Francisco was the bridge.
Yeah.
There was nothing else. So I discovered it while I was there, and it was absolutely brilliant. Discovering how it grew in the '60s, about the earthquakes, about like the most random things you would discover about it. Like, and I started to do all those cheesy like tourist tours. Like the cheap ones, I would find like really cheap ones. Oh, like for $15, and I would stand there and haggle with them, and I would like get like something that was worth $30 for like 10, because they're like, come on, man, there's nobody up there. So I would wait till the very end, and I would just get on there, and I learned so much. I saw the house where they shot Mrs. Doubtfire. I saw the place where Metallica recorded, at least tried to record their last album. There's so much there, and I felt like I had so much history. I was like, I'm sure LA has the same.
No, for sure.
But I think that San Francisco was more my speed of history in terms of like the '60s revolution and all of that, and I think LA was more about the movies and the stars.
It's just so big as well. It's so stretched.
Yeah.
You're always
I've
stuck
heard
in
about that.
traffic. And,
I've heard about that.
And like
Uber's gonna cost a lot there.
it's not that expensive. expensive. Plus, you can take this Uber Pop, where you like, which we didn't know about because it doesn't exist in Dubai. Where you
Okay.
like
You share?
you call the Uber and then it arrives full of people, and you're like, who are these people and why are they in my taxi? And like, okay.
Yeah, it's shared. Uber,
Yeah.
it's shared. I tried that in New York too, first time, and it's so much cheaper.
Yeah.
So much
It
cheaper.
was like $7 or something for
Yeah.
like 10 minutes drive, so not
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like America is just dirty. Like everything is kind of run down, as well as New York. Everything is dirty and like old and like smelly and stuff.
I think the whole world is like that.
Yeah.
And because we
were
live
just
here,
like
they've sanitized us and they've rubbed us into this weird, comfortable being where we go outside and we're like, oh God, that, like, I remember walking into a bathroom in New York and going, I can't do this. Like, and I just wanted to pee. And I was like, I can't do it because you can't breathe in here. And I think if I never moved to Dubai, I would have been like, yeah, okay, let's make this happen. But I walked out of there. I didn't do it. I left. I spent another hour looking for another place. I found another place, you know. I think the whole world is like that except for Dubai because I think the sand washes a lot of things clean in a way.
It's true.
And like, especially like I moved to this new place and the whole place is so clean. It kind of almost creeps me out because I'm like, who's doing it? I don't see them cleaning it, but it's so clean. So it kind of distracts me a little bit and kind of pressurizes me to keep my apartment clean, you know, and tidy. And it's not my personality because I'm a cluttery person, as you can tell. I've always got things all over the place. But I don't know. Are you gonna go to Iceland again?
I don't know. I didn't think that I would go now, to be honest. I thought twice was enough. But I discovered new places. It was cool. I mean, you know, a big part of my first 2 trips was this guide that we had. I don't know if you ever watched, like, he's basically a guide that went with F. Stoppers and Lila Cardi to Iceland.
I'm not sure if I've seen that.
Okay, I'll send you a link. Like, he's really hilarious. He's like...
Yeah.
He has his own travel company called Iceland is Hot.
Okay.
And he's like this old dude, like, I don't know how old he is, maybe 65 or so, but he's kind of like your dad. Like, and he's always so, like, he has such dark humor, like, and Icelanders in general, they have this dark humor, and he's always so inappropriate, and like, he's driving his bus and telling us all the stories about like trolls and like, you know, the Icelandic crap.
Yeah.
And like in such a serious voice, and then he says like something like really hilarious, and the whole bus is just like, I think it's that one.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell's happening? And every day I would laugh so much that like my stomach would hurt. Like I would laugh until like there are tears like falling from my eyes, and he's just like, he's such a big part of it that for me Iceland is also associated with him. But I mean, it's very expensive to hire him to be your tour guide, but if you hire him personally, he can show you like the most amazing places. He often took us to places where there was nobody and you could like spend 3 hours photographing things just by yourself, like just our group. And
that sounds like fun.
Yeah. And he knows a lot. Like you can ask him literally anything about any rock or like plant and stuff. And he used to be an architect, so he knows a lot about buildings as well. And he built a few buildings himself.
Yeah.
And then the crisis in Europe happened, and there was no jobs and no money, so he instead like tried to invest himself in tourism. And I'm like, don't you feel like, you know, it's a bit like diminishing driving a bus full of tourists when you have built buildings that like belong to this country and like which represent this country? He's like, I don't care, it pays them, and I'm having fun, like, honestly. So
fair enough. I think that's another thing that has ruined us a little bit in Dubai, because we start to accept a certain kind of lifestyle, certain kind of respect that we want or demand. And it would be hard, like if suddenly you couldn't take pictures anymore and you had to suddenly wash the dishes somewhere. That would be really, that would destroy at least me. My ego would be gone. Like I would drown.
That's a problem
and
for
people
me.
do that all over the world
right now as well. I'm thinking like, fine, I'm a good photographer, I'm gonna make it, but then I think, what if I don't? Like, you know, what if one day I realize that I didn't make any money last month and this month is looking like there is nothing happening as well? I have to think of something else. And probably what I'll have to do is go back and be an office manager, make coffees for people, like buy stuff, whatever, take care of them. And I always, like, even when I did that job, I always thought, like, I'm better than that. I'm so clever. Like, I worked as an engineer before.
Yeah.
Why do I have to do this? But when you arrive here, nobody knows you, nobody knows what you're
Yeah.
capable of, and nobody believes you, like,
Yeah.
if you don't know anybody. Like,
You have to prove yourself.
yeah,
for
and,
sure.
and you have this problem of, like, I have the passport of certain nationality, and, like,
Yeah.
you have to take a certain job. Like, for me, when I arrived, everybody's like, "Oh, you go work in the mall. All the Russians work in the mall."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I have, and I was like so proud. I have a diploma with distinction, and I have all this like licenses, and I have IELTS, and I have this and that, and I worked abroad and stuff, and like, yeah, you're still Russian. Like, maximum you can make 6,000 dirhams per month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how am I supposed to live on this money? Like, are you kidding me? I worked for Gazprom. Like, Gazprom belongs to Putin. Like, give me a good job, and nobody cares.
I get that. I mean, I still believe that I have this weird feeling that photography might be in danger in the long run because things are changing. I mean, right now we're enjoying photography on phones, right? That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And the older people are spending a bit more time on computers, but that's it. We're not enjoying them in print anymore. And the technology is changing so fast. I mean, have you seen this new movie that came out, Ready Player One? The Steven Spielberg film. It's about, so like, I don't know, like it's like 2040 in the future, so that's like 20 years from now. And people are living in really really crappy conditions because whatever, the economies are hard and life is hard and a lot of people are poor, but everybody has they've got another universe that they go into. They just put these glasses on and they go into this 3D world and they become these avatars or whatever they want. And I honestly believe that it's coming.
Looks like it's going that way.
It's going exactly that way. So I do believe that the future of technology is going towards 3D worlds and augmented reality and all that stuff. And there's not much space for photography in that world, So
it's like more of a design, the same way as they make video games.
Yeah.
And one of my friends also told me, like, the photography also seems like it's going in that direction because there is pretty much, like, there is not much left of the original image, that much everything is modified, that you can't tell. And, like, we're used to the fact that everybody edits their photos and adds contrast and saturation and whatever else to make it almost look like it's out of the video game. Like, you can't tell the difference whether it's computer generated or actually somebody created this image. Like, it's going in that direction. Everything is standardized and, like,
yeah. But I don't know. I have no idea what the photography aspect is going to go. People are still going to need to sell things.
Yeah, and then and the only thing I think will for sure stay working, at least for the next few years, is events. Like, because unless you make a robot who makes everything perfect, but
they
then
can do that.
But at the same time, you still need to arrange people to stand in the right place. And
True. Well, they do have the photo booths, which are technically taking a photographer out of the equation. But they've always been around. It's not a new concept. So,
but they've never been, like, perfect. They always, like, the quality sucks, or like there's only 4 people who can fit in. And...
Yeah, I shot like an awesome wedding, like about a year ago. It's an amazing wedding, Iranian/local wedding, and it was a massive event. It shot into the Burj Al Arab. It was gorgeous event, and then there was a party at home. And then, so there were so many photographers. I was one of them. They hired many different companies to, like, so they could cover everything. And there was a photo booth section. I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. But I went and I looked at the results. It was horrifying and there was a guy taking care of it. So it wasn't like it was completely automated. So there was a photographer technically there. And I normally wouldn't care at all, but I had to stop him and be like, dude, just fix the white balance. It's blue. every photo's coming out blue, and he was like, he didn't know what white balance was.
Mm.
So I had to literally tell him, like, you can make these images look so much better if you just fix this one issue. And he was like, I'm not allowed to touch it. I just have to be here to make sure it's connected and it's printing and it's working. And I was like, all right, well, give them blue photos. I made sure my photos weren't blue, you know. And it went really well. The clients were very appreciative of my work, because I think I gave them what that guy couldn't and what the other photographers couldn't. I could actually interact with them and hang out with them and be with them and embrace in their special day. And I even had a lot of drinks with them. So I think that kind of, I think you can replace that kind of event.
Yeah,
work,
that's
you
the
know?
thing as well. I mean, obviously, I think the last 5 years that I needed like passport pictures, I went to take them in the booth. I didn't like communicate to the photographer who would tell me. No, actually, once I went into Desco and there was some brown guy who took a picture of me against the white wall, just because I happened to be next to it. But otherwise, I always go to this Marina Mall booth in the grand stores.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. It gives you horrible results, but nobody's telling you where to look, like to sit straight, or like, you know, nobody's stressing you out. You have 3 times to press, and like out of 3 pictures you have to select which is the least horrible. You pay 20 dirhams, you're out. And that works for passport pictures. They will be bad in any case. But I remember once I did a picture for my visa in Moscow, and in Moscow there's like, it's not so, in Russia in general, it's not so spread, this like photo booth things. It's usually the guy sitting in the corner like with an umbrella like in the camera, and has a small computer, and he just like tweaks a bit and gives you the pictures within 1 hour. And I remember that guy, like, he actually took time to say like, okay, fix it here, fix it there, and then he just erased like dark circles in Photoshop in like 5 seconds. And I'm like, okay, well, he at least made an effort. It made me feel better that, like, you know, I'm paying him for something. It's not just, you know, here you go.
The last one I did, it wasn't even sharp, and I was just like, it's blurry. They're like, no sir, we smoothen.
Where did you do
use it? I don't even remember. It was in Barsha somewhere, like a random photo booth thing. I made them take it again. I was like, no guys, it's not in focus is what I mean. And that's what I mean when I say not sharp. My eyes are not sharp. They were like, but sir, it's fine. I'm like, I don't accept it. I'm sorry. I mean, I know it looks bad even if it was sharp, but at least it's got to be sharp bad, not unsharp bad. So yeah.
But at the same time, like, I happened to take a lot of headshots recently, and I used to hate doing this because, you know, everybody stresses out.
Yeah.
You're there for 1 hour, you don't know these people. You arrive there, you kind of like set up everything, and they're already like standing there like, come on, like, you know, we only have 5 minutes. Like, it's usually CEOs who don't have time, and they don't care as well.
Yeah, they don't care.
But if you actually manage to make it work just a little bit, and you talk to them and you ask them and you at least communicate to them at some level, like ask them how the day is, like, and you start joking with them, trying to make them look at least a little bit better than they could. And say like, okay, think you just made $1 million, like, how does it make you feel? And they're like,
You can say a lot of things to manipulate people into interacting with you.
Yeah,
By the way, that's always been my backup. My backup is, if nothing works out, if all else fails, I'll move to a really random secluded place, like Puerto Rico next to the beach, and do passport photos. We can do that.
Yeah,
and
for sure. And
make
I mean,
some
like,
money off that.
It's not gonna be like super, but if you live in a decent enough place where you feel happy, like,
yeah, if you feel happy, if the food is good enough, if you're comfortable, that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
that's the backup plan.
Yeah, I read this book. Like, it used to be one of my favorite books, but I don't know anymore because it's been like 10 years. Like, sometimes you read something, you really like it, and then you read it again, you're like, this is a crappy book. Like, why did I like it so much? In that book, that guy, he's a Canadian guy, and he lives like somewhere in Canada.
Okay.
City, and then he, like, his relationship goes to shit, and like he has a fight with his friend, and then he's like, okay, fuck it, I'll move to Mexico. Like, just out of nowhere, he's like, I'll move to Mexico. He just buys a ticket, like, takes a rental car, drives somewhere on the beach, sees a bar and he's like, that looks like a nice place. He walks into the bar and says like, we need a bartender, like, I'm just gonna work here, like, basically, if you can give me like a dinner and a little bit of tips, I'm happy here.
People do that, man. I mean,
and he just describes how much happier he became, like dropping his job, like all this shit that he used to care about. He's like, I just surf in the morning and work at the bar, like, and I don't need anything else. I feel happy, like,
Fair enough. I do understand. There's beauty in simplicity, and I think that's where you find true happiness. Possibly. I don't really know.
I guess so.
Yeah. I knew this photographer in Dubai. Her name was Julie. She was a great photographer, and she really taught me a lot because I had just graduated and I interned with her. Did a lot of work with her over the course of about a year. A lot of fashion, a lot of glamour, all kinds of weird stuff. And she eventually, I think after about 2.5 years, maybe even more, she moved back to the US because she was American. And she moved to New York. She moved to Brooklyn, opened a small wedding studio, very tiny. And she was hustling. She's a hard worker. One of those people who work like crazy to make things happen, to make their clients happy. She had a great work ethic. She worked like a madman. And the economy is pretty hard in the US for photographers especially.
Yeah.
And imagine in New York, there's like a dime a dozen.
Plus the taxes, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And then she found a guy, she got married, and so they did something very strange. They got a tandem bike. So like both of them on one bike together. And they started biking around as a break. And very long story short, like a 2-year story short, they just kept biking until they got to Colombia. And now they live in Colombia. And she's not a photographer anymore. She started doing stocks. And I was like, but you were a really good photographer. And she was like, yeah, I know, but I want to make money. And you make more money doing stocks than photography. And I was like, okay. Do you still take pictures? She's like, no, with my phone. I was like, wow, it's such a... And she's like, she loves it. She just moved to a random place, started working for money and learning a new language and joining an improv class and a comedy class and a dancing class. And
which is like, it's alright as well. Like, you don't have to stick to something if it doesn't work. And like, there is a theory even that every 7 years, like, your life changes so drastically that... you have to like explore new things.
Actually, every 7 years, you actually change. As in, the cells of your body actually change. So you become a completely different person. I was thinking about this last night when I was trying to sleep. I was like, I'm not who I was. I am somebody else. And do I want to be who I was, or do I want to be who I am, or do I want to look forward and look at who I can be? It was a very surreal exploring philosophical moment where I was like, yeah, it's an 8 a.m. I am not who I am kind of moment. It was very strange. So yeah, I think if all else fails, open a small photo booth, take portraits and passport pictures, and I will have a cat and dog section because I still believe there's a lot of money to be made in pet photography.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't found a way to monetize it properly yet. It's my fault. Because I have requests all the time, by the way.
I actually was watching one of those like free classes on Creative Life, and there was this woman. She was teaching a class in like pets photography, and it only lasted for maybe 40 minutes, and then it cut because like it was another next thing was coming up. But I was like, it's true that. There is a lot of money to be made there, and there are people who really care about their pets, but they never manage to take a good picture of them. And I even know a guy who keeps asking me, can you come and take pictures of my dog?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what exactly do you want me to take? But then, like, there is a way to do that, as well as, like, there's newborn babies, and there is toddlers, and there is, like, senior portraits, and there is, like, school pictures. I remember that guy who used to take all the school pictures in our school, and like he would come, I think, for 2 weeks and arrange all the people like in the right way, in the right place. And take those pictures every year.
I hated those.
Yeah.
I never liked them. I was never into it. I used to skip them sometimes.
I never took individual pictures because it was like we'd take a class picture and then whoever wants to pay extra takes individual. Like,
even when I graduated with my bachelor's in fine arts, so I had to sign up for it, and I looked at the price and I was like, I don't pay like 400 dirhams. Oh, it was 600 dirhams for one photo. on a crappy fake background. I was like, I'll do it myself. I don't want it, and I didn't do it myself. You know, and then I didn't even buy the graduation photo of mine because it's a photo of you getting the diploma. That was also just too expensive. I'm like, I don't want it. I don't care. And the only photos I have of me graduating is me wearing the hat, completely trashed, at a club. So those are my graduation photos.
So they do the hat and the thing in here as well. Like that's so American.
It is. It is so American. I was in an American university in Dubai. So yeah, that really that really does. I wanted to ask you really quick before we end this, because you just mentioned about the dogs thing and the how there's different things. Do you truly believe in specialization as a route of success?
Like, to be honest, my background as being Russian, we don't believe in this because we always study everything in general, and then if you're interested in this part, you can work in this part. But then whenever I meet like Europeans or Americans, they always like, especially with an engineering background, like I can only answer your question about this particular part of the engine because I don't know how the whole engine works, but I know about this detail and how like it connects to the next details. I'm like, but you're an engineer, you should know how the engine works. Like, I know how the engine works. Like, the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And yeah, to be honest, I shot so many things while working in the studios that like, fine, my specialization, probably I should say like flat lays and social media stuff, but it doesn't mean that I can't take pictures of other things. And I don't think that it truly exists if you allow yourself to develop in different ways, because it also depends on the personality. Some people are so like controlling that they can't step left and right, and like you said, maybe I only like window light, I will never shoot with other lights because this is what I am. Like, I don't see myself ever like doing anything else. Or I love the softbox light, I never shoot with harsh lights.
That is actually me. Yeah.
But I used to be this person as well, but then I had to shoot one shoot which was in basically in the empty floor of a hotel. Yeah. And it was very industrial looking. I'm like, soft light doesn't work here, we need those harsh shadows here, like everything. So like, I think if you want to be 100% master in something, you have to choose something like in particular. But
yeah, that I understand. And my friend Kavya actually pointed to something very interesting out. He was like, it's not just you who are specializing, it's also your gear that's specializing, and it's also your client that's specializing. So and you can specialize within specializations too. So he was like, he said that I have too much gear is what he was saying. It's because you're trying to shoot too many things. You've got space. You need to make sure you can shoot a lookbook, and you're making sure you can shoot landscape and architectural stuff and portraits and this and that.
Jewelry, you need the macro lens.
Exactly.
Or you need like whatever else.
Exactly. So he's like, it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have this much equipment. I mean, it is a lot of money. We're talking about like $50,000 to $100,000 sometimes.
But our problem as well is that if we land at the job, we're like, I need this because what if this client comes back and wants to shoot again? Like, we can easily go and rent something for the job, but then we're like, we feel bad charging client for renting the thing because we need to look professional, like we have everything. But
I am this close to buying a drone, this close for a possible job, and it's like that's like another 4,500 to 5,000 dirhams. And I don't know if I should, but I can't. I mean, the client said, oh, if you don't have a drone, that's too bad. And I was like, I wish I want to make that person happy. I want to make my client happy, and I want to make me happy. So, and I can't rent a drone because it's a traveling job. So it doesn't feel safe to take somebody else's property and take it somewhere else. Maybe I will still do that. I have a month and a half to figure it out because it's in the Maldives. How can you not have a drone in the Maldives? It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I'm like this close to, like, I've already looked up the prices of the Mavic Air, and I am like this close to pulling the trigger. I just need to convince myself that I can use it more than once, because I did have a drone, by the way, and I used it only once. And I used it, 3 times in total, but only once commercially.
But
So
it's just like if you stay most of your time in here, it's just so kind of scary to have it because you can't use it in the city. I saw
yeah,
kids using it in the city and like flying it off the tall buildings, but I'm like, this is so irresponsible.
and illegal, I think.
Yeah, it is first of all
Yeah.
illegal. Like one guy, he flew off the drone from Four Point Sheraton. He lost control of it, so it landed somewhere on Emirates Towers. In between the towers, there's apparently like the
Like
connection,
yeah.
like a bridge.
Okay.
I'm like, dude, how are you even gonna go and explain to them why your drone is here? Like, it's so you're so getting arrested. But
Yeah.
he was like, one of those rich Emirati kids, so he's like, I don't care.
I don't care. Oh God! But I see photos all the time.
Yeah, in
Of- in
downtown,
Dubai.
like I'm like
Downtown
this is
drone
so
photos.
illegal, yeah.
And I know photographers are doing it, like Altamash Javed, his crew and all the people that he hangs out with, the Igers, I think they're called Igers.
Yeah.
Igers, who are just like these people who hang out together and do Instagram
Yeah,
stuff.
who like to hang off the
Yeah, exactly.
the roofs and
the
stuff.
roofs of the buildings and do all the little naughty things, which
I don't know, they
which-
make me like
I believe
I
that-
don't like those kind of people.
I think they're putting our jobs in danger because
Yeah.
they're making it harder to get on rooftops because they keep
Yeah.
breaking the law.
Yeah.
And then makes it because last time I went on a rooftop, I got written permission and everything, because I'm such a nerd.
And this is the right thing to do.
It is, especially in this city.
Yeah.
You don't wanna mess around.
I went twice where we bribed the guy, and it's not the right thing to do. But I mean,
yeah, but you gotta do it sometimes,
But it was like I didn't find the guy. Like another guy found the guy.
Yeah.
And stuff like this.
That's okay. I know, and because in your heart you're obsessed with landscape in the end, so it's a sacrifice you have to make. I understand that completely, and you have to keep looking for those views, and the only way to do it is to get to the roof of a place. I understand. I love the last photo you shared of whatever the bridge is and stuff.
The Shangri-La?
Yeah, the Shangri-La.
Like, it's also such a overshot look, but
that's fine. Who cares?
I find it also strange that I would have this like amazing sunset from like amazing place that nobody knows and nobody would like it. But then you share something from Dubai and you always get like 200, like 300 likes easily.
Yeah.
Just like easily in the first day.
It kind of boils my blood a little bit, by the way, because it's just such a cliche now.
Yeah, and I'm like,
yeah.
when I shot this, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna share this. Everybody saw this, like, who's gonna like it? And there you go. And yeah.
I get that. If you had no choice but to specialize, would you be specializing in landscape?
Yeah, I would love to actually be kind of like a teacher or something to teach other people how to do this, because a lot of people ask me like, what's your vision? How do you find the angle? Like, because you arrive at the same time to the roof. There is an obvious angle to shoot. Like, there are towers here and the road here.
Yeah.
But how to set up the camera? What settings to put? What's the right moment to click? Like, should you shoot super wide and include everything, or should you zoom in and like include like something?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure, come with me. I'll show you how I do it. I'll show you how I use my gear. I'll show you like what is the right thing to do.
And you can charge people really well for that, by the way.
Yeah, like Danny, he charges like 3,000 per person.
What?
Yeah, to go onto 2 rooftops, and I'm like,
that's crazy.
And yeah, last time I went with him, had like 10 people. I'm like, that is not bad. And I mean, he does that, and then like sitting in the classroom saying like, okay, I amp the contrast, and I use the Nick collection, and I put this and this. I'm like, I can do that so easily.
I think the only thing that I don't have any confidence in that you would definitely need for landscape are using the ND filters and using real filters in general.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't invested in that kind of gear because it just didn't need to. Besides a personal love for it, don't really need to invest in crazy long shutter exposures. But it's something that I think about all the time. I don't know why. It's like I think we become such gear rats eventually, where we start to obsess over the things we don't have.
Yeah.
And I have such wonderful gear. I need to just shut up and focus on it.
No, and I mean, like, I often try to challenge myself and like take something that I rarely take out of the cupboard, and I'm like, okay, I have like 23 millimeters for Fuji and 35, which is both covered by 16 to 55. So
Yeah.
why do I have to have them?
Exactly.
Like 16
You don't need
to
it.
55 is 2.8, and those two are f2.
Yeah.
Like it's not a drastic difference.
Not at all. Not at all.
But
it's
your,
extra
your
weight.
mindset changes when you have a fixed lens, right?
For sure.
Like,
and you move differently.
yeah,
and
you move differently, you see differently, and like you compose differently. Because oftentimes when you have the zoom lens, you either shoot 16 or 55. You don't shoot like, or maybe like 35 or something like this, because 35 is like a safe place to be.
Yeah. I get that. Oh man. I think all of us need to really reduce our gear.
Yeah, I mean,
Really.
I think it will help us a lot. Even for me, like shooting with this film cameras, that the only choice I have is 50 millimeters, which for landscaper is a tough spot. Like it's too narrow and like not close enough if you want to shoot something like really close. But it also provides an interesting like look on it, and I kind of, you know, like a lot of people shoot with 50 and just 50 and 50 is their preferred lens to go, but it's not like long enough for actual portraits. It still distorts the face, and like it's sometimes too close for other things, and 50 doesn't focus very well. Like it's not close enough to focus to make it like, you know, that kind of
My favorite for portraits is 100. I love it. I gotta go further back, but I think the compression is perfect. I think especially for women, because I shoot so many women, it just complements women so much better than the 50 would. Yeah, I shot a bunch of headshots with 50 millimeters on Fuji, which makes it like almost 85. Yeah,
but
85 is a gorgeous lens.
But I honestly, especially on guys, like I didn't like how it looked. Like it felt like the shoulders were not broad enough.
Yeah,
and, like it made them look a bit smaller than like I don't know. I was just thinking that was not the right choice.
I get that.
To do.
I just realized there's like an ugly screenshot going behind me this whole time.
Well, it's okay. I have the like half of these images are from National Geographic, right? Because like I have this bear as well on my screen, but I don't have the other bear with a.
Who was just looking at whatever? Yeah. Oh, that one.
This is a new picture. It's like it's everywhere.
Yeah. Have you shot many animals? Like, because you spend so much time in the wild.
I shot some bears. Like, I saw bears in California. Yeah, in...
oh, shit. Out, like, natural bears?
In national park. I mean, they're wild bears.
Yeah, in a park.
But they're like, they were in the park. It was a mama bear and, like, 2 cubs.
Grizzlies or black bears?
Black bears.
Okay.
So, I mean, she was aware of people being around, so she kind of like was trying to back off, but she was not angry or anything. So
I think black bears, at least, even though they're like dangerous as hell, because they can climb like trees, they can chase after you to the end of the earth. But I feel like at least you can intimidate them a little bit.
No, yeah, I mean we like honestly we follow a lot of people who shoot black bears constantly, and there are a lot of them in the US, like they're all over the place, especially in spring. And it doesn't seem like they attack people at all. They're very scared, like, and obviously you shouldn't ever be too close to a bear.
You hear what happened in India? This is like a few days ago. A guy was trying to take a selfie with a black bear.
I mean,
what do you think happened?
You should never do anything like that. And
he went too close to the bear, and the bear was injured. So the bear decided that this guy is a danger to me too. Killed him.
And I mean, like, imagine they are so strong, these animals, and if you scare them, like, and they think that there is no other way out.
The video was so disturbing because there were so many people there. They were just filming because they were too scared to help. The only one helping was a dog, who was, and it's like a random stray dog, not the human's dog or anything. A stray dog decided this is not cool. And he got hit by the bear really bad. He was definitely injured if he didn't die as well. But that guy died because he could not get away. Because the bear was like, no way, you're leaving my clutches.
No, but I mean, I shot also with 100 to 400. So I was like a good 200 meters away from
as you should be from wildlife like that.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not a great picture anyway. It's like through bushes, and like there's a log there as well.
The only wildlife I've ever shot is in zoos. So
I shot in zoos as well. I mean, I like, honestly, I really love animals, and
same here.
it's sad to see them in the zoo, but you can
Yeah,
get great shots of them, and like at least you are able to see them how they are. Because
for
otherwise,
sure.
like you'll never be able to see a tiger like over there.
I know somebody who got a tiger cub like as a pet,
Yeah, and why
and
like
I'm like so confused about it because I've had a childhood obsession with cats, obviously, and especially tigers.
mm,
They're like my top three cats. Probably my number one actually, most likely. And so there's this inside me. I was like, I need to go there. I need to hug this because I've never been in front of a tiger like that. I've seen a tiger in a giant compound, really far away, where he just looked at me and he just sat down somewhere. And it was like so far away, I could barely shoot it with 100 mm. And this one I can hold a baby, and he's kind of safe, I guess. At the same time, I just honestly believe it's so wrong, genuinely believe it's so wrong to keep predators like that as pets. They deserve to be in the wild. They deserve to be where they belong.
yeah, yeah. No, I in South Africa we went to some like reserve where they breed cheetahs, and
Yeah.
we got to play with these baby cheetahs, which they were not so baby, like they were kind of like adolescent,
Yeah, yeah.
like almost grown cheetahs. And
Yeah.
my boyfriend at the time, he was like hugging this cheetah. I'm like, I don't feel like that it's the right thing to do. And like it's also strange because somebody brought these cheetahs into the room and we were sitting, like there were benches and the cheetahs were like climbing on the benches. I'm like, this is so weird. Like these animals should be running in the savannah, like not sitting here in this room on the benches. And it just, that they're cute and everything, they're fluffy, and they're kind of like big cats, but you just think like they have so much strength, like with one you know thing,
Yeah.
like they knock you down. And
Exactly. And tigers, and even he sent me a photo of the baby. I'm not kidding. The paws of that was massive.
yeah,
They were
yeah,
like this big, and this thing was small. But the paws are huge because
yeah,
it
and
needs
the
to
teeth
grow
are
into
huge as
that.
well.
Yeah. So, and he wants me to photograph the cub. And there's a part of me, the child in me, is so excited about just the idea. I love shooting cats. Can you imagine me shooting a baby tiger? Oh my god, I'm like losing it. But ethically, I believe I have to stop myself from doing it because I would be
Yeah, not the right
technically
thing.
promoting getting tigers as pets, and I'm against it. I'm even against the Thailand,
Yeah,
the tiger compounds where you go and hang out with tigers.
but where is
You
this
know
tiger gonna end up? Like that's the question. When he
exactly.
grows
Well,
up,
this guy
what's
has
gonna
money, so
happen?
he's probably just gonna keep him in a cage. But he's gonna be in a cage. And he
Mm,
doesn't deserve to be in a cage. He
mm,
deserves to be in a friggin' jungle
yeah.
where he's gonna be hunting and I don't know. I don't want to end this video experiment on a downer, so we should switch the subject. um, okay, how many, uh, how much content did you come back with this time from Iceland?
Actually, not that much, but I mean, I shot a fair amount on film, which
Okay,
I shot, I think, 5 rolls of film,
yeah,
plus my husband shot two
yeah,
or three, actually. Like, he had some unfinished one
okay.
as well, and then we kind of screwed up at home as well by developing the wrong film.
Oops.
Yeah. So I am just right now I'm posting on Lemography one picture per day of those, and what I'm trying to do is, because you know how you shoot film, like you shoot something that's really memorable. So
Yeah,
with every picture there is a story, like why did you take this picture? With digital, sometimes we just shoot away and we're like, what is this again? Like, why did I take this picture? What the hell?
yeah,
So I'm just trying to post a picture and write like what happened there, what we were doing, and blah blah. And I think I edited maybe 5 shots, but I don't have that many shots that I like consider worth sharing. So I'm kind of keeping them until like I feel like they're ready to
How
go
how
up.
do you edit these kinds of shoots? Like your travel photography, do you sit down when you come back and just power through the whole thing? Do you do it bit by bit? Do you just do it when you feel like it?
Yeah, I think that like the approach is the last one because I
Yeah.
really enjoy editing this. I like equally enjoy taking those pictures as I enjoy editing them.
Yeah.
So what I usually do if I shoot my like usual wide angle style, I shoot for each picture that I take, I shoot 3 exposures. So, like one I shoot the foreground, so it's 3 exposures of those, which I blend into HDR
Yeah.
and make like everything uh, fine and like all the shadows and the highlights there. Then probably if it's like if there was something super close and there is another 2 in front, which is like closer, and then the middle, and then the mountains or something in the background. So basically it ends up being 12 pictures, 12 or 9,
Yeah.
like with 3 exposures for each. So I blend everything in and then I mask everything in if Photoshop doesn't do decent enough job by combining it itself.
Yeah.
And then once I arrive at this kind of super sharp from front to back image, then I just put it all in one image. I save it as a PSD and I start editing it. Like then I go back to Lightroom and then I edit like the contrast, the white balance, whatever I feel like, and then I bring it back to Photoshop and start doing things like sharpening of certain things, like maybe add a bit of color to this part or like whatever. Like this is how I do.
That's a workshop right there, man. Just showing that process. How many hours do you think per photo? Roughly, obviously, each photo depends. Some photos need
I
barely
usually
anyone.
don't spend more than like 40 minutes on an image.
One image, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
40 even would be if it's like it's a tricky one where I need to edit out some like droplets or
Yeah.
some crap. Or...
Yeah, actually start removing things
Yeah.
beyond the
I mean, like
mixing of
obviously,
colors.
if I see that there is some, I don't know, some kind of like a bridge or some people or something that I need to edit, then
Yeah.
I would spend time on doing it. But generally, pictures I try to take are without those things. If I see that there are power lines and I can't do anything and I really want the shot, obviously I know that I will have to edit them out.
Yeah.
But otherwise I will try to go beyond them and shoot from like where there are no power lines, because
Yeah.
like it's technically it's cheating because I'm taking something out and I'm
I
trying
understand that.
to keep it the way it is. But still people say like, oh, you know, like one girl said, "You're so clever, it looks so crap and you made it look so good." I'm like, well, if you didn't like, and it was just night in the desert, I'm like, if you didn't see what I saw, like, I'm sorry. I didn't do some kind of magic. It's just the camera sees the light better than our eyes. So
That's true. I totally agree. Well, I love your landscape work. I look forward to your new trips photos.
thanks.
Thank you for doing this with me. It was fun. It was definitely a good experiment. We got to talk about a lot of things. I know we were not very direct. We went all over the place, but it's fine.
I don't know.
I think it's cool like that.
Okay, well, if that's
Right,
what
that's what I want.
your approach is,
I think for now, that's my approach. Thanks a lot. We should do it again when I get better technically at it, because obviously there was a lot of shit going wrong. Yeah.
yeah.
So
well,
we'll do it.
We'll
We'll do it
out.
soon. We'll do it soon again. Thank you.
Thank you.